Hi, and welcome to the Revive, Thrive, and Optimize podcast. I'm Billy Weiss, compounding pharmacist and health and wellness expert. This morning, as always, I got my co-host Janet and behind the scenes producer Mike. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Woo, I'm going to sneeze. Speaking of sneezing, it's that allergy season.
It is.
Spring, everything's blooming. And thanks again, because I got up today and started looking for my seasonal essentials that you make.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to start taking those today for my allergies.
That's an amazing product.
And that's right, seasonal essentials.
That is it.
Yep.
Yeah, it works really well with the loading dose of 4 capsules,
Yep,
4 times a day for a couple days. And that really starts to wipe those out for people really quickly.
It's never failed me. I got to get home and get those. So last week we had an awesome episode on peptides.
Yeah.
And we actually have 2 episodes out there, you guys, on peptides, Peptides 1 and Peptides 2. And we thought we would continue that discussion today and talk about peptide bioregulators.
Yep. Very exciting topic, Janet.
Okay. So what is a peptide bioregulator?
Well, we talked a little bit, so a quick review, but they can go back and watch the episodes. But a peptide is a small chain of amino acids, where you think of a protein, like a protein shake, would be a long chain of amino acids. Well, a peptide bioregulator is a very short chain of amino acids, typically, 1 to 3, 4, 5, very small. Okay. So it's just a small chain of amino acids, but they are organ specific. So these peptide bioregulators are designed to help the organs actually regenerate. And if you look, Dr. Kavinson from Russia, he discovered these, created these, invented these, formulated these, whatever the words you want to use.
Years ago, right?
More than 50 years ago. He's been working on this. Now, he has since just recently passed away. His son has taken over the manufacturing of the company and everything and keeping everything running. So one thing to point out about peptide bioregulators is they are organ specific. They send a specific signal to a specific organ. Unlike the peptides we've talked about, can be multiple different pathways, right?
Now, is it because they're sequenced in a certain way?
That's right. Dr. Kavinson discovered exactly how to sequence these, one that would help the heart, one that would help the brain, one that would help the kidneys, one that helped the liver,
So it's like it's talking to a specific organ.
It is. And the really exciting thing about the peptide bioregulators, there's a couple of them. We talked about some of the disadvantages of peptides, that the FDA has made a lot of them category 2 now, which means they say there's not enough studies for human consumption, not enough safety studies, even though many of them have been used for 70 or 80 years.
I've been using them for 10 years.
Yeah. So, but peptide bioregulators are OTC. So we can sell those like any other supplement.
Good.
So that's exciting. And they are almost all oral. So they're capsules.
So you don't have to
inject. So if people are worried about injecting or mixing, they don't have to do any of that.
And they're not that expensive compared to
They are not.
Injectables.
They are much less expensive than the peptides themselves, but they pack a massive bang for their buck. One of the combos that we see the most success with quickly for people is for men, we use the prostate and the bladder together. And a lot of men tell me after just a month or 2 that these have changed their life.
Wow.
Like they were getting up 5-6 times a night, and now maybe it's 1 or 2 instead of 5 or 6. For women, we use the bladder. And again, the same thing. A lot of women have said that's changed how many times I have to get up at night, how I can sneeze now and I don't, I don't feel like I'm leaking. Yeah. So that one we have noticed more rapid results with those. Also, I have a patient, Terry, whose kidney function, his what we call GFR, glomerular filtration rate, which should be above, I think 76 is what we wanted above. His GFR was down in the 30s.
Wow.
So he was in chronic kidney disease pretty severely. And he has taken 3 months of the kidney bioregulator, and he is now in the 90s, which is considered normal.
That's great.
So he's
without
super
a pharmaceutical.
excited. Yeah, and I have a very good customer who's been coming in forever, Pam, who has had chronic lung disease. She was born with I don't remember exactly what the diagnosis is, but she just has a lot of lung issues. Somebody who takes a lot of seasonal essentials, which you mentioned earlier, anything to try to keep her lungs clear. The lung bioregulator has made a huge difference for her.
Would that help someone with long COVID or with pneumonia?
Absolutely. I mean,
asthma,
look,
things like that.
We're actually rebuilding. If you look at Cavinson's research, we're actually rebuilding lung tissue. We're actually rebuilding heart tissue. We're actually rebuilding brain tissue. So we're using the brain bioregulator for some folks with some seizure issues that have had really good success, cognitive issues that have had success, liver, gallbladder. I mean, there's so many different things out there.
So it's like a small chain, very small chain of amino acids that signal your body to turn something on or turn something off. Is that
these are mainly signaling them to regenerate. Regenerate that tissue.
So how would we dose this, and how, for the normal person, where would I start if let's just say I want to hit all my major organs? How do I do that?
Yeah, I believe there's 22 Cavinson peptide bioregulators. And it is really important, I think, right here to point out that Billy and Janet, only recommend and sell Cavinson peptide bioregulators. There are many so-called equivalents out there that are just fake, right?
Yeah.
So
they could do more harm than good. And
we don't have a clue really what's there, right? Again, they're not regulated because they're considered over the counter. So they can put M&Ms in the box and call it peptide bioregulator. So we need to make sure we're using the right ones, just like we've talked about the quality of the supplements that we manufacture. The same thing, exactly. So, yes, how do you use them? So most typically, somebody like Terry, who had severe kidney failure, right? His GFR was in the 30s, should be above 76. So he took 30 straight days of 2 capsules a day. And he would do that for the first 30 days. He takes 2 a day at one time. Then after that, he would go to every month, he would take 2 capsules, 10 days a month.
10 days out of the month only. Okay.
So if you have we'll call it a more severe or acute issue, like you're going to the bathroom 6 times at night, you're a man.
Then you're going to take
the
2
prostate
a day.
and the bladder 2 a day for
30 days.
30 straight days.
Okay.
Then 2 10 days a month after that.
Okay.
If you're somebody like you who is healthy and just wants to try to be proactive, Dr. Cavinson says that you should take 2 a day for 10 days on like a rotating schedule. So if you wanted to do, say, the heart and the vessels one month, then maybe the next month you do the kidney and the bladder.
Okay.
And maybe the next month you do,
so just kind of go throughout the body.
You kind of rotate.
Target.
You have a series throughout the year that you can rotate as prevention, which is really one of the big things that he taught, was to go through a series of, anywhere from 1 to 2 to 1 to 6, peptide bioregulators every month and a rotating schedule.
So I might look at my family history where my dad at a fairly young age had a heart attack, and my grandmother.
Yeah.
My dad passed away of a lung disease. So let's say I want to be proactive and I would do a course for my heart and vessels. I would do another one for my lungs.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, heart and vessels, everybody, I think, would benefit from those two, because think about the number one killer in America, right? Is heart disease for us. And so over 600,000 Americans every year after year, despite lowering cholesterol, despite taking statins, despite all this. So if we can do something proactively to try to regenerate heart and regenerate vessel tissue, then that's a no-brainer. Now, thyroid's a big one that we use a lot of, and parathyroid, because so many people have autoimmune, Hashimoto's, whatever, right, with their thyroid. So
the peptide bioregulators can help with autoimmune issues?
Well, it can help rebuild the tissue that is affected. Okay. We still need to fix the gut first, right, and get the vitamin D levels. But yes, if you have thyroid or parathyroid issues, that's a great combination. If you have a thyroid issue, you probably have a parathyroid issue that nobody's
Also,
ever checked.
My husband's been taking the peptide bioregulators for about a year, and he can feel a difference, and he rotates them.
Yeah.
I haven't tried them yet, but you guys, they just come in like a little package.
Yeah, a little
And
box.
it's just a capsule.
Right.
Very easy.
2 capsules once a day.
Over the counter.
Pretty simple.
Very difficult to find. I've seen them at your pharmacy, but I've never seen them anywhere else.
No, probably not going to find them in many retail locations. I like to believe that we're, on the cutting edge of what's out there.
Definitely.
You can find them online, but again, a lot of them are fake. A lot of them, they're charging like crazy prices for them too.
Online. Yeah.
And they're not that expensive typically. So they are something that is very exciting. It's one of the newest, even though it's not new products, it's new to us. It's new to America.
States. Okay.
Because these things were created, again, I believe he started working on these in the 70s, Dr. Cavinson. And up until just recently, all the literature, everything was all in Russian. And they were very protective
of the information.
And my understanding, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I understand that they had patents and they kept it to themselves until here just recently.
Okay.
And so now there's actually a clinical study going on between, I don't know, some institute in Russia, Gerontology Institute or something. That's not the name of it, but it's something like that. And a doctor here in Atlanta, Georgia, is working with healthcare professionals, and they're doing a clinical study with peptide bioregulators where people are rotating through a certain sequence every month, and they're having specific tests for biological ages and to see how their organs are performing. So very exciting stuff. Some of the studies out of Russia were on some of the people who worked at the nuclear plant. And then this was before we had all the safety measures that are in place today at a nuclear plant.
So they were exposed to all types of toxins.
They were exposed to things. They talked about how they were your typical Russian. They were smoking. They were drinking
lots
liquid.
of vodka.
Yeah, lots of vodka. And still they had really positive results. And then they also studied submarine military in Russia. And again, there didn't used to be all the protection. They were on nuclear subs, right?
Yeah.
There was.
So they were getting radiation.
They weren't protected like hopefully all soldiers are today. Yeah. So they were using them on some pretty at-risk populations, and they had really good results.
Well, I'd like to start some of those for my lungs, and I was thinking about that this week as it's that time of year where they're coming out and they're spraying chemicals in the yard and, all that kind of stuff going on. So peptide bioregulators, I'm just thinking like in the wellness space today, there are so many tools that we have. Going down the list, and you have a lot of these tools at your offices, at your house. I've got a lot of these tools at my house, but do peptides and peptide bioregulators sort of fall in with things like, for instance, sauna and cold plunge? What are other tools? IV hydration, red light, cleanses like parasite cleanses or fasting, all different forms of exercise. There's the Live O2 machine, the Vasper. There's I'm sure you know of a lot more that I'm missing out on that are out there for us to use. Like, what are some other things?
Well, Janet, some of the things that, that through a lot of different research, something that's very interesting to me that's out there is ozone therapy.
Ozone therapy?
So it would be like
Is that like hyperbaric?
It would be very similar to the benefits of hyperbaric without having to do hyperbaric and without having to spend nearly as much money. It's kind of comfortable. You're just sitting in a chair with with a needle in your arm. Pretty easy. But that's very beneficial.
And what does the ozone therapy do?
It increases the oxygen in the blood. Okay. Very similar to what a hyperbaric chamber would do. You talked about some IV therapy, magnesium drips and things. Obviously, we beat magnesium in the ground as to how important it is. So Magnesium drips can be very beneficial for some people. There's actually what I'll call newer technology, certainly to me, and that most people I don't think know about, like extremely high frequency modalities where they treat you actually with sound.
Yes, sound.
With sound.
Hearing a lot about sound therapy.
With frequencies,
Yes.
because all our cells
vibration.
are spinning at frequencies. Yeah, and so vibration, they call it extremely high frequency technology. That is very beneficial and very interesting to me.
And for your nervous system as well.
And yeah, well, it can treat literally, excuse me, it can literally treat anything.
It kind of finds where there's a blockage in your body. And
well, I actually met a very interesting doctor in Pennsylvania who has developed with I think he called him a synthetic biologist in Taiwan, and they have partnered together and developed I'll call it a scanner for lack of better terminology.
Okay.
You can actually put this disc, I'll call it, on your belly, typically on your abdomen, and they can scan the body and look for any abnormalities,
imbalances,
any
blockages,
any old injuries. It's amazing what these guys can see that you may have even forgotten about. And they're like, did you ever have a car accident or something in your neck? And so, but they can see different bacteria, parasites, different places. I mean, it's really viruses. It's really cool technology.
And how long does it take to be scanned?
The body scan, the full body scan, I would say is an hour at most.
That's incredible.
But it can really change. They can look and pinpoint things. It's non-invasive, right? It's not real expensive. And then they can actually send frequencies to help help your body try to correct whatever's going on. So that's like, I don't know, Star Trek kind of technology to me, but it's really, I mean, they've really advanced it over the past 20 years. I mean,
because they were doing that kind of thing years ago.
Absolutely. And again,
machines.
It goes back to the Russians.
Yep.
They were using frequency way back in the, years and years before we did. But this particular doctor has actually taken this technology and patented this with this guy in Taiwan. It's pretty amazing what it can do and what I've seen it do for people. Also, I have recently run across some newer technology. One is called Cellsonic. It's like a non-surgical treatment for different injuries and things, or prevention of things. That is, it can increase collagen, decrease any kind of fascia blockages or any kind of old injury.
What does it look like? How do you use this?
It looks like a box with a wand on it.
Okay.
And you can kind of feel the I'll call it the pulse. I don't know the terminology well enough. You can feel the pulse, and it just kind of loosens everything. And so the way this non-surgical technology works is these people are specifically trained to use this Cellsonic technology. And then they do they don't call it a massage. Okay. It's a specific technique that they use. And I don't know the terminology well enough, but it's pretty amazing.
Uses energy.
They use their elbow, and they have this special technique, and it's pretty wild to watch, again, somebody with an injury and watch what they can do with, again, non-invasive therapy.
That's amazing. Times are amazing.
Well, there's also one of the crazy things that I'd say crazy. I mean, it's not crazy. It's just crazy good. Is there are these, this technology called cardio med beds.
Cardio med bed.
Yeah. And it's literally, you think of a massage kind of bed you would lay on, but it has some cuffs that go across your calves, your thighs, and your hips. And this thing actually helps the body oxygenate the blood. These cuffs work in sequence with your heartbeat. And again, I don't totally understand the technology, but I understand what it does and what the studies show it does. This is an FDA approved piece of equipment that can actually help reoxygenate the heart in the body. And it actually has been shown to help regrow new blood vessels. So in other words, like help your body make a natural bypass.
Wow.
So it can actually help the body. Very well studied with like people with chest pains, angina,
And again, non-invasive.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not
Amazing.
crazy expensive. Yeah. It's non-invasive. But as you and I have discussed many, many times on here, before you go to any of the technologies you and I just named, before you go to peptides, before you go to peptide bioregulators, what should you do?
Okay, let's talk about this a little bit. So we've named all these amazing new modalities and new tools. A lot of people are getting them at their homes. Or, there's wellness centers popping up everywhere. And I've been watching this for a while. And what I see happening, and I don't know, maybe you see something different, but I see people out there just doing it all. They're going to sauna and cold plunge and take peptides and just, do all these different machines and things like that. But are they getting any better? Or are they just putting a Band-Aid on top of another problem? I mean, how...
Well, Janet, I think all those things can be very beneficial, but I think what people always fail to do, or not always, but a lot of people fail to do is the basics.
The basics.
We always need to start with the basics,
and
the foundation.
Why is that?
Because I'm telling you, if you're
spending all this
if you're
extra money.
spending money on peptides and red light therapy and all these things without doing the basics, I'm telling you, you're not getting the maximum benefit.
Yeah. You're getting
you may
some
not
benefit,
be getting any.
You might not be getting any. It could be harming you.
If you're trying to, it's kind of like you're building a house, but you're not putting you're not putting the basement in.
Yeah.
I mean, put the basement in before you put the main floor in, before you put the upstairs in. So I think the modalities that we have talked about are the top floor.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go back to the 5 pillars of the OptiU program. We got to get the food right. God-given quality foods, world's best nutritional supplements, water from a medical device, science-based exercise, rest and recovery. If we can get those 5 things in place, then balance our hormones, then look at peptides, then look at red light, then look at all these other things, ozone and these things, then we start to see real benefit, because the foundation, the basement is laid. And then the body can make these other things work much more efficiently with much more benefit. And we can just not, it's almost like so many people are doing I'll call it a shotgun approach, right? They're just jumping from here to here to here to here. Let's just start with the basics.
There's this magic thing that's going to fix everything.
Janet, I just remember, I mean, this is what, 2 months later plus a week or 2. I mean, Squirrel is what he goes by, has lost 42 pounds. He's off all his meds, off all his insulin, and he had been on it for decades.
This is since January.
He's just doing the foundations. He's not doing any of that other stuff. He has not added peptides. He has not added red light. He has not added, cold therapy. He's not added ozone. He's not added anything. He is basically following what I teach at the weekend. That's all he's done.
You're getting his body healthy, and then his body can start working to take care of
absolutely
the different problems.
If he needs some of those other things, then he can do it. But he's got all his foundations, all his basics in place, and he has set himself up for great success long term because he's doing all this without any, I'll call it, intervention. He's just made lifestyle changes. You said it. He's just got the basics of his lifestyle down to I'll call it a science.
Yeah.
And now if he wants to continue, we can talk about other things. But for the last 2 months, he's been doing the foundational 5.
He's been getting optimal or optimized, because I even saw this week, I saw a YouTube that said, stop using all this stuff. Stop it. And I was like, wow, I'm using all those things. Why would I want to stop it? But the whole podcast was about how you have to get your lifestyle right first. You have to optimize your hormones first. You have to be healthy to really get the benefit from all these extra things. And you need to work with a technician or someone like you who can tell me wow, Janet, every time you get in that cold plunge, what's actually happening is your cortisol levels are shooting way up and it's doing you more harm than good. No, I'm not really getting in the cold plunge, but in my brain, that's what would happen. It would stress my body out too much. And yes, hormetic stress is good, but I'm just kind of thinking of different things. It's like we're putting all this stuff in. And if our body doesn't know when to use it, how to use it, how much to use it, like these are the things that we need to know before we start throwing our money at all these things, right?
Well, that's the thing, Janet. I think people, unfortunately, as we've talked about before, are looking for the easy button.
Yeah.
And there's really not an easy button. But one thing, because they're jumping, like you said, from one modality to the other, which is, again, not wrong. It's just probably not as beneficial as it could be if they hadn't fixed these other things. But one of the things that Squirrel and his wife said that was really what I've tried to tell people forever is they were like, it's really not that hard.
Not that hard.
And I was like, exactly.
And you feel better.
Know what to do.
Yeah.
It's really not hard. It's not any harder than doing it wrong. It's just once you do it right and you feel so good, you never want to go back to doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things is it's not an easy button. It is a lifestyle change. But once you make it, it's easy to continue it.
It's and you feel so much better. And then you're like, why did I wait so long? I have some friends who were training for an event. And during this training phase, he and his girlfriend both decided to stop eating sugar, to stop drinking alcohol. And they were going to do this for 4 months leading up to this event. So they're about 2 months in. And I saw them and they've both dropped like 15, 20 pounds. Their skin is clear and glowing and they feel great, and it's just like, wow, just from a little more working out, dropping the sugar, not drinking the alcohol, just seeing how much better they feel.
And to me, those are really simple things. They didn't cost them anything. It actually saved them money, right? To quit eating sugar and drinking alcohol and to have those kind of results. I'm telling everybody listening, it's not that hard to be on a plan that makes sense, that doesn't cost a lot of money. And if you'll then invest in your health with the foundational 4 supplements, with the OptiU protein shake, with just a few of the basics, you can literally change the entire trajectory of your health span, your lifespan, how long you feel and look good. And just like you said, just adding the protein powder. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's huge right there. One of the big changes we made in the OptiU weekend is how much now we emphasize how you have to get the protein. Because, and I guess it's good because the Ozempic kind of GLP-1 phase kind of pushed me into saying, okay, we got to get our protein. And that's because people were losing so much weight so quickly, and they were showing over 50% of the weight loss. Some of the studies showed over 50% was muscle. Yeah. So yeah, fix the basics, then we can get to the more nuanced, more newer technology things, but we need to get the basics down, which is what we're trying to teach people to do. And to find out more, go back and listen to Peptide 1, Peptide 2, and then this one on Peptide Bioregulators and other tools. And get going. All right. Good to see you. Thanks. Bye.